Girlfriends, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling with Angela Fafali Nyako. I am excited and turned up for another interview. It's been a year and a half since the last interview, and now we're about to start into our season 4. I can't believe Girlfriend's Guide, the homeschooling has been going on for so long. And you all have been the catalyst behind GG2H is what I call it, continuing on. When I take a break each time, I take a little hiatus, and then more girlfriends join the Facebook page and join the Instagram page. And I'm like, what? We're on a hiatus and girlfriends are still joining. Okay, so that encourages me to move forward again. And so each year, anniversary, a little hiatus come, and then more girlfriends come. And so, so here we are. We're back in season 4. And I have today with me, Leila Blue. I hope I did it right. I feel like I did it wrong. Did I say it right, Leila?
Yes, Leila.
Yeah,
Yes.
Leila Blue. Leila Blue is with us today, and I want to tell you all about her in just a little bit. This is one of the girlfriends on Facebook who I found, and she had just been commenting on posts, and I thought, yes, I want to get started again, and I want to interview Leila. So let me tell you a little bit about this platform, and then we're going to jump into our interview. So as I mentioned, I am Angela Fafali Nyako. If you look at all past videos, you're here, Angela Jordan Perry. Well, I've had a legal name change about a year or so ago. Went back to my roots, went back to my homeland in Ghana. And so as Leila and I was just talking about, and I took back my name, my surname of my ancestral name, which is Nyako, okay? Long story of how that unfolded, but it's all divine, spiritual, universe movement. I can't even explain how it all unfolded, but it unfolded. So I am a homeschool mom of 23 years as of this recording to 8 children, 4 of whom have graduated from homeschool, all the way through homeschool, and 4 I am still homeschooling. They are ages 16, 14, and soon to be 12. All right, so now I make my home in Ghana, Africa. This is where I am doing this recording. And I'm so happy to be here. I just returned back from the States on some business and family business. And so here I am in Ghana. My purpose-driven life is to make a positive impact on thousands of homeschoolers worldwide. Okay, that is my purpose-driven life. And I do that first by serving my community in South Carolina, where I give families legal status to home educate their children in South Carolina. And now I'm here in Ghana, and I'm still making things happen with connections on social media, and hopefully some exciting things coming up in here on the continent in different countries. Homeschoolers find each other, and homeschoolers need help. And so we find each other and we can connect and make community. So more things are coming in regards to GG2H here in Africa. So very excited about that. So, but today's interview, who jump starts us off into season 4, is Leila Blue. So Leila, are you ready to make it happen?
Yes. Hey, girlfriends. Hey.
So let me tell you a little bit about Leila, okay? All right, Leila, there we go. Leila, I'm gonna read your bio to all the girlfriends. So Momma Blue's Village is the passion project of Leila Blue. Leila has been working in education for over 20 years, starting as a lead teacher at an early childhood level. After 4 great years there, she moved on to teaching school-aged children, both in co-teaching classrooms and pullout specialist classes while living in Washington, D.C. Upon moving to North Carolina and having children of her own, Momma Blue decided to home educate them instead. And it's something she's done for 8 wonderful years. Leila is a certified North Carolina early care and education professional and North Carolina school age professional. She has also been certified as an In-Home Montessori guide by the Prepared Montessorian. Recently, she became an IMC certified early childhood assistant Montessori guide, having completed her program of study just last fall of 2022 at the Center for Guided Montessori Studies. Momma Blue is committed to establishing practices and programs that will encourage the intellectual and emotional well-being of every student she meets. Through Leila's passion for home education, she has offered families of color a realistic look into life as a homeschooler. She has assisted several families with planning and starting their homeschool journeys. Momma Blue comes alongside families to provide them with personal attention and coaching as they pursue a successful homeschooling experience. With continuous guidance and follow-up, Momma Blue helps families understand that homeschooling is a viable alternative that may be chosen with ease, confidence, and success. So Momma Blue, Leila, I've told the girlfriends a little bit about you. If there's more to share, please do. And then tell us, how did you actually get started? What made you start home educating your children once you got into North Carolina?
Hey, girlfriends. So first of all, I just want everyone to know that I'm so excited to finally be talking to Angela. You know, we always have those moments where we have to try to find our tribe and find our people and our just where our fit is in the homeschooling world. So when I found Girlfriends Guide, I was like, oh my gosh, I love her. I don't know who this is, but this is so my thing. You know, the affirmations and all the encouragement, because I really feel like, you know, we mother our children, but the mothers need to be mothered too. So sometimes we need to get in there and find our people. So that was really, really, really encouraging when I found your page.
Awesome.
So our homeschooling journey started so now it's been about 8 years when we only had 2 children.
Okay.
Because now some time has passed and we now have 7 children. But
Oh,
initially,
wow. Okay.
when we first moved to North Carolina in 2010, our now 15-year-old son was 3. And we moved here about a year and a half after his type 1 diabetes diagnosis. So that came with a lot of questions about, are we going to put him in school? You know, are the schools equipped? Are there nurses? There was just a lot happening. We were in a new place. It was a new diagnosis.
Right.
So, you know, all the questions were, what do we do? I never thought that I would homeschool, but once we moved here, I started to kind of dig deeper into what does homeschooling look like in North Carolina? How would that work? You know, how would that go? And people used to tell me all the time, it should have been easy for you. You were an educator. It was not an easy decision because I didn't have to deal with all of those. Can I do this? These are my children. You know, that comes with a whole different set of expectations and fears and nervousness. So the children went to school. He entered kindergarten here in North Carolina. Our daughter at the time was in 3rd grade. They were in school in North Carolina for about 2 years before we decided to bring them home. It was initially because of Christopher. There was no nurse available in the school full time. So we initially brought them home for that reason. But after we got them home, I started to see the just how much they grew, how much their bond became closer. And then we, of course, started to have more children. And as we started to add to our family and our family started to grow, I knew that I wanted our children to experience the closeness that the first 2 children had experienced just being home in that time. So that, and of course, us being able to have a completely vested interest in the intentional way we teach them is what has kept them home. So the older 2 of the 7 have been to school, but the younger 5 they've never been to school
Okay. And what is the
outside
age
of our home.
outside of your home? Okay.
Yeah.
What's the age range? Your oldest is 15.
No, he's not our oldest. So our oldest is actually going to be 20 in September. We
Okay.
graduated her
From
in
homeschool.
2021, yes. And
Okay.
she is now in her senior year of college. So in the fall, she'll be
Okay.
a second semester junior. Um, and then there's our 15-year-old.
Okay.
And then I'll go the opposite way with the younger 5 this birthday year. They'll turn 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12.
Okay. Okay. 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. And the 20-year-old and 15-year-old, which is Christopher, right? Christopher is the
Yes.
15-year-old. All right. So
Yes.
those two, okay, got it. Okay. Okay. So those are the two that had the strong bond because they started homeschooling first.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So I'm just curious. This is not a normal question, but how did your daughter, this is the follow-up question. Tell us how your first year of homeschooling went and how was that transition for your daughter coming from public school into homeschool now with mom as the teacher? So how was the
Yeah.
first year?
So she cried a river. It was a big transition. And we of course allowed her to respectfully voice her opinion. Like, tell us what you're worried about, tell us what you're afraid of, tell us what your concerns are. And I told her that all of those things didn't have to end. You won't stop making friends. You won't stop being involved in different things. And I asked her, I said, do you trust me? She said, of course, mommy, I trust you. I said, well, give
And
me a
how old was
year.
she then, Leila?
She was,
At that
she
time, she
was,
was what?
she was 12 going to 7th
12.
grade.
Okay. That's what I thought, that age.
Yeah.
Okay, 12. Uh-huh.
And I said, give me a year. And if after this year, you absolutely hate being at home for school, we'll let you go back to school.
Okay.
Well, after that year, you couldn't pay her to go back to school.
Wow.
She
Wow.
she became our little homeschool advocate, all of her friends, because she still had friends in dance, and she had other activities that we had her in while she was in public school. She was in Girl Scouts and she was in dance. So none of those things ended, but then we to show her how we could tailor her education to exactly what she wanted it to be. Christiana is fluent in Korean because she was able to take Korean classes for 5 years on Saturdays. So she was able to experience things that if she were in school for 8 hours a day, she would not have been able to experience.
Yeah.
So her love for home education, it just grew leaps and bounds. But of course, when it was time for her to go to high school, that was a whole other thing, not for her because she was home and she was fine. And she was just like, okay, I'm ready. We're ready to do this. But me, I was like, oh, high school. So how do we work this out? So I think that first year of high school was also another transition year for us. But we did it. We worked it out.
Wow. So she cried buckets, but
Bucket.
Christopher, buckets of tears for the transition. Christopher did well. And so for you being the home educator background now, public school background as a teacher, how was that for you? Because I hear many of my interviewees have said, I've had this education background and it did not serve me being a mom and a home educator. How was that for you, Leila?
It was a really difficult transition. I come from a family of home educators, and I remember probably when we first got started, I called my mother and I was like, I really don't think I can do this. And she's like, what do you mean? You've been teaching children pretty much your whole life. I said, yeah, but it's different because these are my children. So I have these expectations that I have to figure out how to drop and allow them to become the children and students that they're going to become. So as their mom, we of course have expectations as their mother, but then it's a different thing when you have to then add expectations for them being your students. because you expect your children to perform a certain way, you expect your children to learn a different way. But then once you begin to fold back all those layers and you allow them to show you who they really are as a student, it's entirely different than who they are sometimes as your children. I learned very early that my children's educational personalities and their my child personalities, they're sometimes different, but being able to watch and learn their learning styles has also enabled us to be able to hone in a lot closer and a lot more intentional on the people that they are becoming. So in the end, it's been an enjoyable experience. It was a lot of trial and error in the beginning. I can tell you, we probably went through about 2 or 3, let's try it this way. No, we need to do it this way.
Sure. Yeah.
And it was mainly because I had to unlearn all those classroom things.
That's right.
One thing that really helped me was to go back and kind of get in touch with a lot of the social emotional learning that I did as an educator, to allow myself to kind of pull back and understand you're not just educating children right now. While you've always been intentional about holistically educating like the entire child, this really meant I had to educate the whole child, because I had to educate them not just as students, but as my children as well.
Correct. Yes, that's huge. And that's huge. And I think that's awesome that you were able to recognize that. And not only that, I think that is a learning tool that all of us have to learn as parents, because well, you had that education and you're saying I had to learn my children as my children and my students. I mean, parents, we have to do that same thing. And we don't give a lot of attention, or we don't know to give attention to social and emotional part of their learning, them as a person, and give attention to that. That might be a niche that you can jump into, because that's not in the homeschool community to even bring to our attention. Me having homeschooled, for 23 years, now I recognize, yeah, I have to pay attention to them as a student, of course, and as my child, but watch them emotionally and socially in both ways. How do I do that? Make sure I'm caring for the both. So it's very much very much a focused effort that has to be made that maybe we're not aware of, that we have to figure that out earlier. I didn't figure that out earlier. I was just focused on the academic side, the teacher part.
Yep.
Teacher part all day. And then later, if I wasn't careful, I'd still stay in the teacher mode of this type of thing. But my beginning was a whole mess, but that's neither here or there. But for you, so your beginning was still a little bit of developing. How do I do this as a former teacher and now a parent? So take us into what a day looks like in your schooling now. And you've been schooling for 8 years. So what does it look like now?
So now our day pretty much is really relaxed. It's really flexible. I tend to not wake the children up. I try not to wake them up. I allow them to all just kind of get up. They get up in the mornings. Some of them kind of go to things that interest them. I have one daughter, I may find her in the morning, she's crocheting. Another one may be on the computer looking up something. I have one of our sons is very heavy into NASCAR, so he may be looking at some stats or doing something with his cars. So I kind of just let them wake up and kind of evolve in the morning. And then we have breakfast. Christopher does breakfast for the children while I'm preparing what I need to prepare for them outside. And then after that, they either will get dressed or they'll just hang out in their homeschool uniform, which the world considers our pajamas. Or the girls sometimes will put on lounge clothes, and then we'll come out into our school space. We turned our garage into our learning space, so we have a lot of space now. And it was mainly once I decided that I was going to do full Montessori with our youngest 2 children, because we, of course, needed the space. Okay. So the older 4 are able to kind of sit down and get their work started, while I sit down and start, either giving presentation lessons or watching the little 2, kind of observing what their interests are and if I need to change out materials and do those kinds of things. But we have a pretty relaxed day. Okay. I don't do any more. We used to do a schedule where I was like, okay, from this time to this time, we'll do this subject. From this time to this time, we'll do this. But we don't even do that anymore, because Two of the children like to start with language arts and reading. The other two like to start with math. So we just kind
Okay.
of start our day. As long as at the end of our day, which usually is about maybe 4 to 5 hours on a good day,
Okay.
if at the end of the day, everyone has done what everyone has done and they feel like they've worked enough, and I can see that they've actually done their work and not just been having sibling conversation, we pretty much are done. It's not so much forced anymore. I learned that once I try to keep them on a schedule and force it, I get more pushback. So now
Uh-huh.
we just kind of do. We do a couple subjects that we do together as a group. So science
Okay.
we do together as a group, which is a lot of project-based learning. It's a lot of hands-on learning. So we do that together as a group. And our history and geography we do together as a group. And that is only because we are intentional, extremely intentional about what we teach them. And as long as I know that it is coming directly from me, and some days when daddy's home, he can jump in. We holler from the schoolroom to wherever he is, and he'll come out and he'll talk with us or he'll sit with us. But we do those two subjects together as a group. Aside from that, they're pretty much free to go into our learning space and just be.
That's awesome. Awesome. Can you explain to us what, for many of us who are not quite clear, I know a little bit about Montessori. So
Mhm.
explain what Montessori looks like for your younger students. And what is that all about in
So
homeschooling?
So for the younger two, and even that was different. Learning Montessori at
Mhm.
home
Mhm.
was different from how I learned about Montessori as an educator, how I saw
Uh-huh.
Montessori, because Christiana, she's our oldest child, she started school at 2.5 in a Montessori program. So even
Okay.
having Montessori at home is different from how it was done in a public school setting.
Okay.
But Montessori, the method of Montessori learning is pretty much I guess I can explain for people to better understand it, is it almost looks like project-based learning, but it's not projects per se. There are different lessons across a span of a couple of different areas of learning that the children are hands-on, and that's how they learn. So there's practical life places, which if you try to say the equivalent in public school would be like the pretend play area. So in practical
Okay.
life, the children learn buttoning and dress frames. They learn how to water plants. Like Jolie is our 4-year-old. She goes and she makes snacks. It's all things that the children are learning. They're learning, but they're also life skills. So a lot of the
Okay.
work that they do is hands-on, and it's created that way. Our little Montessori space outside looks like our home. It looks like a little home
Okay.
for them. And they freely
Mhm.
move around this space themselves. So we
Okay.
present lessons to them. And once they learn the lesson and they have the work, they're able to pull the work and they kind of do the work as they need to or as they want to. The thing about
Okay.
Montessori is that they stay in one kind of environment for 3 years before it moves over to a different level. And with that,
Okay.
the work becomes increasingly difficult. So a lot of the
Okay.
materials in Montessori don't change from age to age, but the work that you do with those materials, it increasingly gets difficult as they're
Okay.
learning. So while
Okay.
I may use just like number rods in the beginning to teach Joelle how to count, those same number rods or that same material can be used at the next early elementary level to teach square roots or to teach
Okay.
multiplication or division. It's a lot
Okay.
of hands-on learning. Our little ones absolutely love it. Montessori is so big in our house now that the older ones are like, so why can't we do Montessori? And I'm like, okay, which would then mean mommy has to do more schooling herself, because of course
Okay.
I then have to learn how to use the materials at
To
their
create.
age levels. Yes.
I was
Yep.
just going to say, so that means that would be more work on you to be able to
Yes.
create that for them. And you said the exact thing. Okay, okay, okay. I got it. So it works in your homeschooling, because I've always, I
Yes.
mean, I never connected Montessori with homeschooling, some aspects of it, but not a full-fledged Montessori type of schooling
Mm-hmm.
to be done in homeschool. So, okay, that's awesome. Awesome, awesome. Will you continue that with them as they get older, your younger ones, would they go through all of that?
I will. So I've been thinking about some more school for mommy, to learn the primary education parts of it. So the early elementary, up to age 12 is where I would have to go next.
Okay.
And I've been thinking about it. Some things I kind of know, and just from kind of doing some research and taking some just like some self-guided classes for the next age group. I'm able to integrate the materials into the work that they're doing now. So like their math curriculum, if it comes up and it's a skill that I understand and know how to use the materials for, I'll present a lesson to them so that they have that as an added resource to use with their curriculum so that they can help to figure out their math work. So we do touch on it a little bit with our older children, but I would definitely have to get mommy some more Montessori training under her belt in order for me to be able to, yes, to do it for them the correct way.
That's awesome. Awesome. So, Leila, if you would take us to your most memorable day of homeschooling, and it was such an awesome, memorable day that you say, this is why I homeschool right here. This is why I do it.
Wow, Angela, just one.
Okay. You don't have to
Wow.
limit it to one, but tell us.
I think to date, it is not the moment. So I'll give you like just a little bit of time period. It is the time between Christiana's graduation from high school and the first set of college acceptance letters. Trying to figure out how to homeschool high school was difficult. And I knew that I could do it because I'm an educator. But did I know that I could do it? I still did it. We graduated her. She graduated with 30 college credits because she was duly enrolled. And I was like, okay, so we did it. I mean, she's good. And then college acceptance letters started to come in. And I'm like, okay, we really did this. Like, she's being accepted to these colleges. They see that she's competitive. She can get out there with the best of the public school children. And then she was invited to honors college and received an academic scholarship that she did not apply for. At that moment, I looked at my husband and I said, we can really do this. And that has been more of a driving force behind continuing it, digging deeper into my passion for helping other families, just making sure that it is realistic for people to understand, hey, my little brown girl over here just did this and she did it. So you and your brown children over here can do this. And we're going to do it.
Yes.
And we're going to do it.
Yes. I love it.
So she, without a shadow of a doubt, has completely sealed the deal. Although the deal, it was already sealed. They're not going to school, but she has completely sealed the deal. She continues to excel in college. She just continues to, it's not shocking or surprising anymore, the things that she has accomplished while she's been in school, but it just continues to remind us and to show us, hey, she did the work, but y'all did the work because y'all homeschooled her.
Yes.
So the product of the work is what continues to drive me and continues to show me, what, this is a thing, and we have to continue to make sure that our community knows and understands that this is for us as well.
Absolutely. It can be done. And you know what? Once you have graduated and figured out the high school thing, which you always figure is a little challenging, and then they go off to college, you're like, man, we can do this. All of y'all, everyone is going straight on through on to college. It's no reason, if they choose to go to college, but you can definitely get them through their schooling, their high school, and all these things without a problem, right? That first one sets the tone for sure.
That's it.
I mean,
and she
usually,
did. And she has.
Yes, that's awesome. So take us, Leila, to your hardest day of homeschooling. It was so challenging. And I like asking this question because it just shows humanity, and that although, we've been doing it for a number of years, that, still we're not perfect at it, and we still have some challenges. But take us to your hardest day of homeschooling, that it was so bad that you felt like, I'm done. I don't even think I can do this. I want to give up. Take us to that day.
Yeah. So, I think it was all around just learning how to manage the children. So classroom management happens at home. It was just learning how to manage the children. I remember we had a day where the children just weren't feeling it. And I was just like, okay, you know what? We're going to do this work because we have to do, that was when I was still we have to do this. We have to get it done. It has to happen right now. It has to happen like this. And I really, really had to take a step back and allow myself to be vulnerable enough for the children to show me that no, this is not what we are doing. This is not why we're home to be educated, because it doesn't have to look like this. And I think that was one of the days where I needed them to educate mommy that day, so that we were able to fully get out of that kind of cycle of schooling at home versus home education. So that was a big day for me, where I was just like, you know what? I think the kids are trying to tell me something, and I think I need to take a step back and reevaluate and adjust to what we need to do. And I think that's why your affirmation yesterday resonated so much with me, because I really had to adjust to what was happening. And even though I felt defeated, that in that moment, I then, of course, on the other side of it, knew that it was a moment that needed to happen for us to be a better learning space.
Yes. That's good. That's good. And that's good you can identify that. And I'm glad to know that affirmations are everything. Are they not?
Everything. They
No,
are.
I mean, go ahead.
I go to your page. If I don't do anything else in the morning, after I'm up and I get myself together and I've done what I need to do with my affirmations, I go straight to that page, because I'm like, let me make sure my mind is right this morning and see what Angela is talking about for the girlfriends, because this girlfriend so needs to see it. Yes, I do.
Yes. I'm telling you, it says, girlfriends, if you are not familiar with affirmations, is just a mantra, a positive words, statements that just sets the tone for how you want to set your mindset, what you want to be thinking upon throughout the day, reminding yourself this thing. Because as we think, it becomes our reality. We think it, we believe it, it becomes our reality. And sometimes we have to say that thing maybe 10, 15 times over and over and over, for it to, I say reality, but to manifest what it is that we are believing for. So if you haven't seen them, go to Girlfriend's Guide, the page, Facebook page, Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling Facebook page, or the Instagram page, and check out those free affirmations that you can say
Please check them out, girlfriends.
free every day. So anyway, that's beautiful, and I'm glad to hear that that realness of your story, Leila. So our next segment we go into right now of this interview is just some quick questions, just to pick your brain. So they're just quick answers, okay? So Leila, what is your favorite quote or mantra that keeps you going in this homeschooling journey?
Oh, wow. So, with the social climate of the world, it had the way it has been over the past couple of years. I think my favorite quote right now, or the one that I kind of think about all the time when I'm being intentional, especially when it's history time for our children, is only a fool would let them educate their children. And I think about that all the time, because when I'm teaching truth to our children, I then go back to kind of parallel it to what I was taught when I was in school.
Yeah.
And it's like, my mama must have been a fool to let them educate me, and not, of course, in the literal sense, But when you do the home educating work that we do, and it's intentional with our brown children, and I always think about that quote, it's always like, now this is the realest thing I've ever had to kind of keep in mind to kind of keep me moving, but it is real. It is
Yeah.
really real.
Yeah. And that you said so much in that. I know these supposed to be really quick, but you said so much in that. But you know, the thing is when you are blinded and you don't know, you just don't know, and you know no other way. That's it. Until hopefully one day scales fall off or something
Yep.
shakes your attention. You're like, what in the hell have I been doing? What in the world is
Yep.
this? And you make that change. So this is why it's so important for Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling to be there and places like this, so people can see that, hey, there's another option, so it make them think there's another option.
Yeah, there
So
is.
there are other options. So anyway, do you plan to homeschool all the way to the end? I think I've asked you that, but let's see you say it again. Do you
All the
plan to
way to the
homeschool
end.
all the way to the end
All
with
the
all
way
of
to
them?
the end. Yep.
What is something that is unique in your homeschooling, or a tradition in your homeschooling that maybe other families don't do or don't know about?
Um, I don't know. So I think one of the unique things, or a thing that has become a tradition for us, is that we together say affirmations in the morning. So, my husband and I had a chance to kind of take a step back and relearn some things about the direction we wanted our family to go in spiritually, before we were ready to introduce it to our children. And that was kind of a nervous place as well, because you always want to make sure that you're teaching what truth is, or what your family believes to be truth. And we wanted to make sure that we did that for our children. So that's one of the big things now, is that we have a whole little affirmation pledge that we say in the morning. And the really cool thing about that is that so the baby is just 3 years old, and every morning one of the children wants to lead that pledge. And one day she was like, I want to do it. And I'm looking at her like, okay, she wants to do it. And she led the entire pledge word for word. She knows it all. She knew it herself. And this was early in her 3rd year of life. And I was like, oh my gosh, she knows it. I actually cried. I actually cried. It touched me so much. The kids were like, Ma, are you okay? And of course I was okay, but I had to kind of step away from the children for a moment, because in that moment, again, I felt like this is working. This is it. And this is where it needs to be. Because had I not allowed her to do that, I never would have knew that she was paying that much attention, and she was being soaked up so much that she knew that entire pledge by herself.
Wow. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. What is your best piece of advice that you have received on this homeschooling journey?
Is to always allow myself grace.
Yep.
And
That's it.
Yep. And in return, I give that to every family that I meet, every family that I help plan, all the students that I come in contact with. I always tell their parents, you have to allow yourself grace on this journey, because no one's journey is the same. Nobody, even if you have multiple children in your home, those 2 children's homeschool journeys are not going to be the same. And you have to allow yourself grace, or you will get burnt out really, really fast.
It's true. It's true, girlfriend. It's
Yes.
true. What is your favorite resource or book that you feel every girlfriend should have on their bookshelf or in their home?
Angela, oh my gosh, I have so many. Whew. Right now, I just have to keep going back to being intentional about things. In Amber O'Neill's book right now, A Place to Belong, I always get so, not just like emotional, but so overwhelmed when talking about that book, because it is such It's an amazing read, of course, and she's amazing. It's I don't know, the Heritage Mom.
Yeah, she came to Ghana.
Yes.
She came
Yes,
to Ghana
yes,
last
I remember.
June.
Yes,
Yes,
I
yeah,
remember the
yeah. She was
picture
with
now that you
me.
say it.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Her book is amazing. Her book is amazing. Her
Yes.
platform is amazing. And I think that
Yes.
all moms, even if they're not looking to homeschool in the style that Amber homeschools her children, I think that
Uh-huh.
that book is amazing for all homeschool parents to read.
Okay, okay. You all check that out. It's a place to belong. With Amber O'Neill Johnston. Okay, so check out her book.
Yes.
Sweet, very awesome lady. Yeah, she came and spent 2 weeks here in Ghana on a homeschool
Oh,
Ghana culture camp. Yes, yes, yes,
I
yes. It was
know
amazing.
that energy was probably explosive.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. So do you have a favorite resource, like an app or online, something that you can suggest to the girlfriends?
Um, a lot of times I kind of point families towards things that can inclusively help them no matter what direction they're trying to go with their homeschooling life. So study.com, we love study.com here. Study.com is interactive. It has games for their lessons. There's
Okay.
reading. It comes with projects. It's just a whole, pretty much, if you were looking for something that you could kind of say, well, this is new. Let me see if I can kind of open up this one thing and kind of see how I can make this happen. Study.com is an amazing resource for that. Um,
Okay.
and then just the whole, the World Wide Web is just like amazing for homeschooling families. There's sometimes when the kids are like, oh, let's try to figure out how we do so and so. And I do not know it all. Trust me. There are so many things that even as a veteran homeschool mom, which some people do refer to me as, there's still so many things that I don't know. The homeschooling world transforms and it evolves so fast. There's always something new being added. There's some new creation happening, some new resources, sites, all kinds of things. So
Yeah.
I stay on the web researching, the latest homeschool websites or the latest homeschool curriculums or, all those kinds of things. So just being resourceful with the web is huge as well.
Yes, yes, yes. That's great, great, great resource for sure. Great resource. All right, so Leila, here we are on our last question.
Oh my gosh,
This is the
girlfriend.
$1,000,000 question. Are you
All
ready?
right, I'm ready.
Okay, so if you had all your current knowledge, skills, experiences, insights as this veteran homeschooler, if you had all of this at the beginning and you had an opportunity to do it all over again and start to day one with all this knowledge, what would be the first thing you would change or something that you would implement this time around? Or something something you would change, something you would make sure you do or implement this time around?
I would make sure that this time around, I allowed the children to be who they were from the start. I think we lost a lot of not valuable learning time or educational time, but we lost probably a lot of valuable just family and understanding one another and getting to know one another in those first couple of trial and error years, because mommy still had school. We have to do it this way. We need a schedule. It has to look like this. It has to be this whole thing. And I think when I started homeschooling, I didn't know about this fun thing now called unschooling. So I think if I knew about this whole fun unschooling thing, we definitely would have unschooled. And sometimes I feel like maybe we need a reset. So maybe we need to unschool for maybe a couple months or something. So that's definitely something that I would implement if I had to start all over from day one.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, girlfriends, you are the average sum of the 5 people you hang out with. And this hour, you've been hanging out with Leila Blue from North Carolina. Yeah. So keep up the momentum, Leila. This was an excellent, 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 informative interview. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule with your 7 children. I don't know, are you all homeschooling? Are you on break now or light work? What are you doing now?
We're on break. We usually take a break in the summer, and we have to take a break now because when big sister is home, no one focuses on school because the big sister
Sure.
has them. She's baking, and like last night after dinner, we had this whole origami paper making thing with her. So when big
Aw,
sister's home, they are zoned in on big sister. They want all of her attention. She, even if she doesn't admit it, wants all of their attention as well.
yeah,
So we
yeah,
take a lot of family time in the summer when she's home with us because we know that, in a few short months, we're not even less than a month at this point to the
yeah,
date, we'll have her back on campus August 6th. So
yeah.
the time becomes short. So we definitely do take a break in the summertime.
I see, I see, I see. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you, Leila. Do you have any last words that you would like to share for the girlfriends? Any insights, encouragement, anything that you would like to share?
Sure. First, thank you so much, Angela, for having me. This has been amazing. I couldn't wait to talk to you. I was like so excited to talk to you. And girlfriends, this is only the one thing that I'm going to leave you with that is most important. We've already talked about giving yourself grace. So give yourself grace. And if you're just starting your homeschool journey or you're trying to figure out if you want to start your homeschool journey, do it. Do it, even if you have to do it scared. You can
Yes,
jump out there. There's so many communities for you to attach to. And if you're watching this, you've attached to a good one. So talk to some of these
yes,
girlfriends on the platform, find some other people, and just do it. But do it. Start
yes.
today and do it.
Yes, make it happen. Make it happen. Lilo, anything that you have your hands involved in that you would like the girlfriends to know about? And then would you like to share your contact information if anyone would like to reach out to you for insights, guidance, encouragements, and more conversation?
Sure. So I have my hands in so many things. Sometimes my husband's like, "What in the world are you doing now?" But my contact information and we can share it on the platform as well. My social media handles on Instagram and on Facebook. It's Momma Blue's Village. I also have another Facebook page that is just my name where a lot of information goes. So it's Momma Blue's Village, and there's a page that is Leila Blue. I'm always open and ready to talk to parents. A lot of times I think that we get caught in the middle of um, kind of do I make this a business or do I help these people because they're because
Right,
this is my passion? And I think
right.
that's where I am right now. And I keep,
Okay.
you get that pull from one side
Yep,
to the other, but
yep.
my passion is going to always lie in educating our babies. It's going to always lie there. So as much as I can and as often as I can, I try to help families. And the other reason is because I know um, homeschooling is not for the weak at heart. So encouragement is what we
It's
all
needed.
need. So I try to be that
Yep,
person for any
yep.
families that I can. So reach out to me, send me a message. We'll jump on the phone, we'll get a video message going, and we'll make it happen.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Leila. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So,
Thank
girlfriends,
you.
remember, remember that to teach a child is to touch a life. And as we homeschool, we don't only teach or touch a life, we shape the future through our efforts of homeschooling. So keep making that positive impact day after day and month after month, year after year of homeschooling. It is going to pay off and it's going to be worth it. Before you know it, your child will be graduated, just like Leila's oldest, Christiana, is. It happens in a blink. Okay, it happens in a
Yes.
blink. So keep moving forward and make that decision today. And the funny thing is, Leila, as we say, make that decision today, we're not trying to sell you anything. We're not doing anything. We're just telling you, hey, this is an awesome, awesome opportunity and life-changing experience that will affect the rest of our lives as the home educators, but our children's lives and their future and how they show up in the world is going to impact them on a positive note. So with that being said,
Absolutely.
again, thank you for joining me. Again, this is Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling with Angela Bafali Nyako. And thank you We look forward to seeing you on our next interview. Peace and blessings. Thanks, Leila. Mwah. Thank you.
Bye.